Typhoon Haiyan is one of the strongest tropical cyclones in the history of meteorological observations, which occurred in November 2013 in the Philippines and neighboring countries. This is the 30th storm to be named, the 13th typhoon, and the 5th super typhoon of the 2013 Pacific typhoon season. It led to catastrophic destruction in the Philippine province of Leyte and on the island of Samar. The NDRME estimates the preliminary financial damage from the typhoon in the Philippines at least $787 million, while independent economists estimated it at $14 billion. The damage in China is about $848 million. Information about 6,350 to dead has been confirmed. Many people are still missing as a result of this storm, according to the UN. More than 11 million people were affected by the typhoon, most of them residents of the Philippines. Many of them lost their homes. 530,000 were evacuated. More than 600,000 people were evacuated in Vietnam. The typhoon destroyed about 585,000 homes and damaged more than 588,000. Please like this video and subscribe to this new channel, and you will see many more interesting and useful things. On November 2nd, the Joint U.S. Naval Typhoon Warning Center began monitoring a wide area of low pressure located about 425 kilometers east-southeast of Pohnpei, one of the regions in the Federated States of Micronesia. Calculation of environmental conditions during tropical cyclogenesis and numerical weather forecast showed that a tropical cyclone should form within 72 hours. Early on the morning of November 3rd, the Japan Meteorological Agency classified the phenomenon as a tropical depression. The JUTUC then also classified the system as a tropical depression, shortly after issuing a tropical cyclone formation alert. A further increase in the intensity of the tropical cyclone led to its reclassification into a tropical storm, and its naming Haiyan at 0 o'clock UTC on November 4th. After that, the tropical storm began a period of rapid intensification, which reached typhoon intensity at p.m. on November 5th. By November 6th, the JUTUC had rated the system as a super typhoon equivalent to Category 5 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. On November 7th, at 12 o'clock UTC, the Japan Meteorological Agency estimated a maximum 10-minute sustained wind speed of 142 miles per hour and a minimum atmospheric pressure of 895 millibars in the center. After 6 hours, the JUTUC estimated an average 1-minute wind speed of 196 miles per hour. Due to the lack of direct observations of the typhoon by a reconnaissance aircraft, its true strength remains somewhat unknown. When Haiyan hit the coast of eastern Samara, its 1-minute sustained wind speed was estimated by the JUTUC to be 195 miles per hour, which is a record onshore among all tropical cyclones. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration (PAGASA) estimated an average 10-minute sustained wind speed of 146 miles per hour and gusts of up to 170 miles per hour at landfall over Guiwan, eastern Samar. On November 7th, at 2040 UTC, Haiyan hit land in Guiwan with maximum intensity. Interaction with land resulted in a slight deterioration in the storm structure, although it remained an exceptionally powerful storm when it struck Tolosa around 23 o'clock UTC. The typhoon made for more landfall crossing the Visayas, Bantayan Island, Concepcion and Busuanga Island. Haiyan, whose core was disrupted by land interaction with the Philippines, appeared over the South China Sea late on November 8th. Environmental conditions before the storm soon became less favorable, as cool, steady air began to envelop the western side of the storm's circulation. Continuing through the South China Sea, Haiyan turned northwest late on November 9th and continued moving until November 10th, skirting the southwestern edge of a subtropical ridge that had previously been heading west. Rapid weakening followed as Haiyan neared its final landfall in Vietnam, eventually making landfall in the country near Haiphong at 21 o'clock UTC as a severe tropical storm. Once ashore, the storm rapidly worsened and was last noted when it dissipated in China over the Guangxi-Zhuang Autonomous Region on November 11, shortly after Typhoon Haiyan entered the Philippines' area of responsibility on November 6. PAGASA set the first Sisu storm warning level, the lowest of 4 possible, for most of Visayas and Mindanao. As the storm approached, warnings were also issued in Luzon, and the level was raised for the eastern regions. By the evening of November 7th, the highest level was issued, corresponding to expected wind speeds above 115 miles per hour for the islands and provinces of Biliran, East Samar, Leh, North Cebu, Samar and South Leh. On November 8, a warning was issued. For several more areas, including the southern regions of Luzon, the authorities have introduced the highest level of readiness for police in the Baikal region. In the provinces of Samar and Leh, school classes were cancelled and residents were evacuated from areas that could be affected by flooding and landslides. Some areas threatened by the typhoon were previously affected by the earthquake in Bohol province on October 15, 2013, magnitude 7.1. The President of the Philippines asked the military to provide planes and helicopters in the regions threatened by the storm. As Haiyan was moving very fast, Pagasa issued warnings of various levels in 60 provinces of the country out of 80, including the metropolitan Manila metropolitan area. On November 8, the protocol of the International Charter on Outer Space and Major Disasters was put into effect, according to which operators of space satellites for remote sensing of the Earth allocate their resources free of charge to obtain operational satellite images of the region. On November 9, the typhoon approached the territory of Vietnam. Wind speeds of up to 74 to 80 mph were predicted, with gusts up to 115 miles per hour. 200,000 people were evacuated from the central regions of the country. School classes were cancelled. People living in low-lying coastal areas were moved to more sheltered places. Navigation was limited. 170,000 military personnel have been mobilized. Shortly before Haiyan, central Vietnam was devastated by typhoons, Wudip and Nari, but Haiyan was expected to be at least twice as strong and significantly more destructive. By the time the typhoon arrived, approximately 600,000 residents had been evacuated. However, in some places, typhoon warnings were announced too late. Hundreds of flights were cancelled. Since November 10, the protocol of the International Charter on Outer Space and Major Disasters has also been introduced for the territory of Vietnam. After the passage of the typhoon, massive looting were observed in Tacloban, including cars with humanitarian aid, shops, and shopping malls. The fuel and lubricants warehouse in the city is guarded by armed police, reinforced by more than 200 officers. The country's president, Benigno Aquino III, considered the possibility of imposing martial law to restore order. 6768 on November 11, by Order Number 682. A national disaster regime was introduced in the country. There is no water and electricity supply in the affected areas, and there is an acute shortage of food, drinking water, and medicines. After more than a month, up to 30 bodies are found every day in the central Philippines. According to official data, the death toll currently exceeds 6,000, and about 1,800 people are missing. On the southeastern coast of Samara, the typhoon threw two giant boulders weighing 70 and 180 tons along the coast 45 meters from their original location. A boulder weighing 23.5 tons was torn from the cliff and raised almost 6 meters above sea level. Several other boulders weighing 17 tons were carried far inland and stopped at an altitude of about 12 meters above sea level. A fragmentary limestone with a volume of 83 meters was also moved 280 meters inland.